Welcome to another weekly edition of the Hellraiser Blog with Mickey Elliott. We're a week away from arguably the biggest fight of the year, Canelo, Alvarez and Amir Khan. We want to get your thoughts on it, a deeper analysis on what you make of the event and the fight itself.
Okay, so I'm calling it power versus speed. Alvarez being the power and Khan being the speed, and I think tactically in the fight that's what it's going to come down to, is who can use Canelo can use his strength and power, or can Khan use his speed, and whoever can use whatever they've got I think wins the fight. I'm excited about it. When I first saw it I thought, okay, Cinco de Mayo, the big Mexican festival, they bring in someone from somewhere that's going to get the fans excited and is basically a sacrificial lamb to the Mexican hero who's going to knock him out. And I thought, Khan's cashing his chips in here. He's going to get a whopping payday and he's going to get ironed out, and that'll be his part in the story. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think Khan's movement and speed, if you look at the footwork of the two, just watch a video of both of them, you watch the footwork. I mean, Canelo is almost as though he's stationary compared to Khan. The rings in Vegas are very heavily padded, so being a mover doesn't really work. I mean, the casinos want two guys standing in front of each other going hell for leather, and so they have these big cushioned padded rings. Obviously it has to be within the rules, but as cushioned as they can, and that will certainly favour Alvarez here, and they're not going to make the ring favour Khan. I can tell you every different tactic that they can employ to favour Canelo, that's what's going to happen. Like I say, I don't see it as simple as Khan's cashing in, but he's going to be massively up against it. So first, Canelo, came across him a while back. Very unusual. I mean, just to look at him, he looks Irish. he doesn't look like a Mexican. He's got like ginger hair.
Yeah.
Good fighter. We've seen what he's done. I mean, he boxed Mayweather. Mayweather, I know, made some comments about his power, saying this guy. So, and Floyd has been in with the most powerful people out there. For him to be talking about Canelo's power as one of, if not the biggest puncher that he's been in with, right, Canelo can really punch. And if you look at Canelo, I mean, Canelo started off small himself. He's come up through the weights, but his power has evolved with his weight. As his weight's developed, he's carried on knocking people out. Whereas Khan, as he's developed in terms of putting weight on, his power seems to, the knockout percentages and the effect that his punches are having seems to be less and less. I mean, we look at the recent fights. I mean, Khan couldn't dispatch Krys who just saw get destroyed by Errol Spence, and so I don't think Khan is a big puncher at the weight. He's fast. He's speed in itself can cause knockouts, but I just don't think he's got quite the pop in his punches that's required to knock someone like Canelo out.
I mean, from a lot of people's perspective, they're worried about Amir Khan's glass jaw, this stigma that's been attached to him for a while. What do you make of that?
I'm one of the people actually that doesn't believe Khan has a bad chin, because I've seen him hit hard, and and okay, you can't say with every specific punch, but my reasoning for why he got knocked out is very simple. I think he got knocked out because he was weight trained. You look at all those fights from Prescott, from
Lamont Peterson.
Yeah, I mean,
went down.
To me, it was more to be blamed on the fact that. I think he's hardwired, actually, and I think this is going to be a problem in this fight with Canelo. I think Khan is hardwired to be an aggressive fighter. Although he's tall and used to be in the lightweights, he was tall and gangly, he's more at home when he's coming forward, using his speed to dictate the pace of the fight and push the other guy back. And when he can do that, he's in his element, and he's very hard to beat. Can he use that to effect with Canelo? I think he's really got his work cut out. I think there's different. We'll go through some of the advantages. I mean, I think firstly that despite Khan always looks like tall and gangly and Canelo looks more short and stocky, there's actually not a lot between them height-wise and reach-wise. They're pretty much the same. I think Canelo has a 1 inch height advantage and reach is pretty much the same. So it's not like one of them's forced to come forward. And I think we'll see Canelo come forward, we'll see Khan moving. I'm certain of that. But actually the reaches of them, there's not that much in it, and I think it could end up that because of Canelo's, they're both going to be prepared. Khan will be prepared to move, and Canelo will actually be prepared to stop Khan from moving and how to corner him and cut the ring off, which he's very good at. He does it naturally. If you look at Canelo's feet, they're actually, if you watch them both, you'll see Canelo's far slower and looks far more plodding than what Khan is. But in this fight, it's in Vegas, you're going to have the like I said, the cushioned ring, and you're going to have a lot of pressure on Khan power-wise, because I think, if he's honest, Khan will admit he can't compete power-wise with Canelo, which means in every exchange, he can't stand there that extra half second to get the last punch in. Khan's going to have to move, and I don't think that comes naturally to him. I think what comes naturally to him is actually coming forwards, and he looks better when he can unload and have a little bit more freedom than what he's going to have in this fight. He's changed trainers, he's with Virgil Hunter, and I think you see the fighters at Virgil Hunter, they are thinking fighters, they're moving fighters. He seems more of a technical guy, which that I think will help Khan in the short term. I'm not at all convinced that Khan can last 12 rounds sticking to the blueprint that Hunter will give him. It's one thing sitting in the gym or even sparring with lesser or smaller or more tired sparring partners and sticking to your remit then, but when you're getting hit in the head and the body hard by a guy who Floyd Mayweather says is a huge puncher, fighters, in my experience, they tend to fall back into old habits. They go back to what they are hardwired to do rather than what they've been taught in the last sort of 6 weeks or 2 months or 3 months to do. When it starts going wrong, they quickly panic and I think, okay, we might see Khan cause some problems with his movement, because for sure his feet are much faster and his hands are faster as well. But when he starts taking some of those body shots that he is going to get hit with, because Canelo's not going to stay at long range and let him jab. He's going to have trained with people, he's going to spar with people that move, and absolutely he's going to get very quickly into close range, and he'll take 2 shots to give 1 against Khan, because I know he believes in his power. All this I saw on HBO, I think it was, where he was saying, I'm not going to train for this fight, I'm going to eat ice cream and play on my PlayStation, which is a lovely idea and it's good sort of banter. He's not going to do that, right? Absolutely, he's not. There's a side to me that thinks this is the sort of fight, if Canelo was the kind of fighter that might take his foot off the pedal in training because he thinks he's got an easy night, there is a risk that you could underestimate Khan, and then he could come unstuck, because Khan's no mug. They get an Olympic Games silver medal and do everything that Khan's achieved since then without being at the level that he is. But I don't think Canelo will take him easy. I think he'll be disciplined. I think he'll know his game plan exactly, which will be to get his feet in close first and then worry about, and there'll be punches, I'd imagine, landing on Khan's chest, in his body, around the back of the head, in the front of the head. He's going to try and overwhelm Khan and certainly dictate the space in the ring. If we look at the fight that Khan had with Lamont Peterson, who's a strong guy, but he's not Canelo. And to me, Lamont Peterson dictated or Krys Algieri. These guys that they seem to dictate the pace of the fight. They dictated who was governing which space in the ring. And if those guys can do it, then I think Canelo can definitely do it. And if you watch Canelo's feet, when he doesn't respect the strength of, not necessarily the power, but the strength of a person, his legs walk. He just doesn't even bother trying to fox his way in or dummy his way in or feint. He just holds his hands up, knowing, right, I'm going to get close to you, so our bodies are going to be like this. And once we're like this, you're in trouble. And Khan will be in trouble, especially if his back's. Khan cannot afford his back to touch the ropes, basically. And that's a danger as well, because he can't afford for his back to touch the ropes, but he can't afford to come and meet him Khan needs to try and hold that centre of the ring for as long as he can, because that will allow him to box rather than fight. But of course, Canelo knows that, and his trainer will say to him, you cannot give this guy the centre of the ring, and I think we might see Canelo walking into Khan.
So wise money would go on Canelo, and a lot of, I suspect there's going to be a lot of betting on rounds in specific, to be specific.
I would imagine so. I mean, there's a couple of guys, like gambling guys, bookmakers, this sort of thing, that I know are really worried about money going on Khan, and I think Khan is you've got Khan with iBet Boxing at 5-2, Canelo a 3-10 favourite. That's not if you go on boxing websites, it's not rare to see one guy is like 20-1, 33-1, and the other massive, 1-33, something like that. So the from a financial point of view, people aren't at all. The money people are not convinced that this is a one-way traffic. This is a sort of fight where we can predict. That's quite an even sort of fight. Having watched them both extensively throughout their careers, I've got to say, I wouldn't be putting any money on Khan. I think Canelo at some point catches up with him. Even if, Khan might outbox him for periods, but I think Canelo is aware that Khan moves. He's not an idiot. He's not going to stand in his corner and just allow Khan to stand. He's going to walk in. I think he's going to get stuck in early. I had a lot of people saying, especially in the gambling, saying, "Oh yeah, Khan early will take a lead, and then Canelo will take over." Well, he might, but I think Canelo catches up with him very early, and I think in his mindset leading into the fight, I think he goes in basically looking to just have a trade-off with him, go toe-to-toe with him as soon as possible. And I think it could happen early, because although his feet aren't that fast, once he's got a man inside and once he's got a guy hurt, look at the footage online, he doesn't let a guy off the hook.
Well, we're going to put you on the spot to end this blog, and we're going to give you a prediction. You're going to give us a prediction, more like. What do you think's going to happen if you had to put your money on it? Who's going to win?
I will go Canelo. I think Khan lasts till halfway. Okay, if he goes beyond that, I really take my hat off. And look, in the back of my mind, or in my heart, if you like, I'm hoping Khan. I'm a British guy. Khan's a British guy. I'm with him. I hope he does turn it around. This isn't a slight to him. I really like him actually. He's a good boxer, and he seems like a good guy. Not that I know him, I think he seems like, it's my cup of tea as a fighter as well. Really good boxer. But as a matchmaker, looking at it, I've got to go Canelo. I think Canelo halfway stops him. I think he'll walk him into the wrong kind of range and force the wrong kind of fight for Khan. I think when Khan starts getting hurt and worn down, he will revert to not what he's been taught in the last few months. And I think he will fall into line with what he has been hardwired to from childhood, if you like. He is a fighting man. He is a guy that likes, despite the way he sometimes boxes, he likes landing big shots. And when he gets hit, he's going to want to land that big shot. And I think that is the undoing. I think that's the point where Canelo takes over and the body shots pay off.
Well, a big fight awaits the winner, and we'll be watching and we'll be looking forward to it, and we'll catch up with you afterwards. Take care, Mickey.
Official. Cheers, Sean.